Hi, hello, and how the heck are you? That's right. That Rockwell timepiece says it's time to get coached up with another edition of this award nominated show. That's right. I'm a proud ambassador of the Rockwell brand, as you can see that merch right there. So go to rockwelltime.com, use the code COACH20, and receive 20% off of any item that you order there at rockwelltime.com. Like and follow the Coach Scott Fields Show on Facebook. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, but also hit that bell so you get notifications when outstanding content just like this is going to be uploaded for you. You can watch us on DBTV Monday through Fridays and also Saturday afternoons. Over 300 million households we're in around the globe, and thank you to our now 400,000 viewers daily. Also catch us on Wednesdays at CSTV, and don't forget the Rewind Sports 60. Awful excited to have our guest on with us today. He and I go way back, and I think this is going to be a treat for you. He was undrafted to the NBA, but also spent several years in the NBA, played in Puerto Rico. I coached against him in Lebanon. He's got some great stories for our viewers and listeners out there. So we're about to put that flavor in your ear, and we're going to have a lot of sports sauce for you. Mark Strickland. Mark, welcome to the Coach Scott Fields Show, my man.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Been a long time, Scott.
It has been a minute, but I was just telling you before we went live, you look like you can still play 25 minutes. You're looking good.
Yeah, just trying to stay in a little shape, man. Just trying to stay in a little shape. Plus, we've been doing it for years, so it's kind of habit. It's kind of habit, yeah. It's kind of habit.
It's a good habit. That's right. So, Mark, let's go back. I mean, you played your high school ball in Atlanta, a great hotbed for talent, but then you choose to go to Temple University, Coach John Chaney.
Yeah.
Tell me how Coach Chaney either impacted your life or how he helped influence you or the things that you picked up from that legendary coach.
Yeah, well, I was in Atlanta, playing ball in Atlanta, ended up being one of the top players in Georgia. And then it was this recruiter guy. I forget his name. He used to recruit. I used to see him at the games at the bottom of the bleachers all the time. And then he knew that Temple was looking for a guy forward to kind of replace Tim Perry for the rover position. Coach is known for the rover zone, a matchup zone. So once I met him, it was kind of over, man. He was maybe the second person that I met to kind of have that aura. When he came to my living room, I just felt this. You just feel like he really cared about me as we talked, and then I made the choice to go to Temple University. Plus, I was growing up in Atlanta, in the suburbs of Decatur. So, I wanted to get a different feel. I wanted to get the city life. I wanted the suburbs. I wanted the grittiness of the city. But I also knew if I wanted to play in the league, I had to be able to compete with DC, Baltimore, Philly, New York. And I had to be able to compete against those guys. And when I got to Philly, I realized that, hey, this is a different brand of basketball. I'm going to have to grow up real quick here. But, Coach was very influential on everything. He taught us how to be men, real men. He taught us how to handle ourselves in different atmospheres. I never been to an elite dinner. I never been around people. I never really talked to, millionaires, billionaires, getting a chance to go over, some of the alumni's houses, going to the president's house during the holidays. That really helped us. He taught me how to tie a tie. My first experience overseas was with him. He tried to plan a trip every 3 years so that every player that comes to Temple University gets an opportunity to get an experience overseas and also get a passport, which really helped me down the line. I'm pretty sure we'll get in that later on in the show. I mean, that really helped me, that trip to Japan, going to Temple University, Japan. But he was just an amazing person. He was your uncle. He was your mom. He was your dad. He was your confidant. He knew when to get on you. He knew when to give you a hug. He was just a great coach, and I'm really glad that I got those 4 years of experience with him, which went on after school, which was a great relationship that I developed all the way up until he passed away.
Wow. Yeah. May he rest in peace because he truly is legendary and iconic. He was known for toughness and discipline. And, word has it, those early morning practices. Do you feel that that also helped you with your discipline and your focus and kind of helped you have a structure
Yeah.
for success with your college experience?
Yeah, I grew up in a house with David Strickland, and he was Marine. So I kind of already had that kind of discipline. Actually, coach kind of reminded me of him with the discipline, but those 5:30 practices really helped me. Really helped me, especially after leaving there and going to Larry Brown and Pat Riley. You really have to have discipline to play for those guys. And at 5:30 practice really helped, getting sleep. He used to always have this saying, make rest your friend. You can't burn it at both ends. You can't be at all the parties and have girls in your room all night and your friends in the room all night playing those video games and expect to come here and practice at 5:30 and really play for me. It's not going to work. So it got me disciplined with that. It also got me disciplined with schoolwork, realizing that I can't do my work in the dorm. I have to go to the library, because I wanted to be in the bed by 10 o'clock, and if anybody was in our room, me and my roommate had a signal. We would look at our wrist like, hey, like, you heard the saying, you don't have to go home, but you're going to have to get up out of this room because we got to practice at 5:30. So, we used to always do that. Like, if he had company, I would do it. If I had company, it'd get closer to that 9:30, he'd be like, hey, but yeah, it really was a great experience. I actually got this shirt on. Mark Macon gave these out to a lot of the players of coach when he passed away. So he was just a huge influence on everything. Discipline, treating others like you want to be treated. It's just so many lessons and so many things I picked up from coach, and it was just a truly blessing to play for him.
I love that, and I love the shirt. Was there something that he said to you in your home during that recruiting visit that stood out to you and drew you to him to say, "Okay, I'm going to make this visit, and if this visit goes well, it's a wrap."
For me, it was more he really emphasizes that I could come back anytime and get my degree. He stressed that a lot. I know a lot of coaches stress that, but he really meant it. And I just loved that he really was genuine about giving me an opportunity to play. He was going to give me the best opportunity to play. And that's all I really wanted, And then once I got there and started meeting Mark Macon and, Mike Frieswig, I know he was gone at the time, but, a lot of those guys came back, Darren Pearsall, a lot of those guys. And you start to pick up on the culture. You start to pick up on it. And then once I started doing that, it was like, okay, this is going to be really good for me in the future. And it's going to really get me to that next level.
I love that. You've mentioned Mark Macon a couple times. You guys really helped maintain a culture and
Yeah.
build a program that was starting to get national recognition. I mean, you had Dwayne Coswell. I think wasn't Donald Hodge there with you?
Donald Hodge, yeah, came in
Yeah,
with me. Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Donald Hodge, Mick Kilgore,
Oof,
Vic Costarfin. He's now the mayor of Camden. So we had a lot of great players that come through there. Yeah.
wow. And tell me, how competitive were those practices where you're getting up at 5:30 in the morning and you're asking your body to compete at a high level? Because I mean, hey, that's what it is. You're playing
Yeah.
Division 1, you're playing a tough schedule. But talk about some of those practices and what you learned being a Georgia high school standout to now being at Temple University with the legendary coach and now just competing on the hardwood.
Yeah. Practices were tough. We went from 5:30 to 8 o'clock every day. And wasn't much film. It was a lot of working out. But the thing about it is, Coach did a lot of teaching in those practices. If you see a lot of pictures of Coach, you see us standing and him and talking because he did a lot of teaching, and he kind of related those messages that he was giving us on the court. He kind of related it to life. Like if you make a bad play, you can't drop your head, or if you get a bad call on you, you can't attack the referee and get a technical foul to hurt your team. You have to always maintain that steadiness of coolness, and maybe attack the situation instead of, maybe feeling sorry for yourself or, overreacting. Always try to keep a level head. But those practices were tough, man. We really got in there in the morning and we competed. We did a lot of running. We did a lot of defensive tees. You had to really be in the tune what he was teaching because every position in that rover was responsible for one thing. Then, because we were on the outside, other than Donald Hodge, you have to know every position because in emergency situations, if somebody takes that corner, say Macon takes that corner and he's a wing, and he holler he's Rover. Now I know I got to take that opposite wing, and then maybe Mick Kilgore is at the top and Vic Karstaffen's on that other wing, and now Macon is the Rover. So it was a lot of communication. I learned that from Temple University. Coaches always say he never wanted to walk into practice where it was quiet. A practice should never be quiet. You should always hear voices, sneakers. You should always hear voices, though. You should always be voices going. And I really learned how to communicate, which helped me later on playing for Pat Riley and Rick Alderman and Donnie Nelson. Like, because those guys were really talking out there on the court. And you know how it goes. And when you go to those NBA games, you sit low enough, you can hear the guys
Right.
talking, sometime on the commentating, you have to really communicate out there. And that was the most important thing I learned from those practices because you really had to know how to communicate to play with the players that I played with.
Love it. Just great stuff right there. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we got Mark Strickland here with us today, former NBA player, had a great career professionally. Thrilled to have him here on the Coach Scott Field Show, talking about John Chaney and those Temple experiences. You were undrafted.
Yeah.
And you got into playing professionally, at the minor league level. You went overseas a few times, finally caught your break.
Yeah.
What was it like when you finally got that phone call, when you've put in the work and you've done a lot of things that, the drafted players didn't have to go through?
Yeah.
But what was it like when you got that call and you got invited in where you're like, okay, now it's time to showcase and show everything that I've learned to this point?
Yeah. For me, it was kind of gradual. I had that summer. It was my second summer after CBA and USBL. I was actually playing in the USBL. Went to Portland for a week, played well, and they decided that they were going to go with Jermaine O'Neal, which wasn't upset with that. Then went to New Jersey, played very well. I think got a lot of eyes on me in New Jersey, but they at that time, the league was more veteran. It's not like it is now where you have young guys. Actually, when I see Eric Spoelstra, he always tell me he wish I played for him now. But went there for a summer league at the time. It used to be in New York, and we played up there, played really well. And then I got a call after that saying they Miami Heat wanted to see me for a one-day trial. And I wasn't going to come. I was at the point where I was frustrated that summer. I know I played really well in New Jersey, did really well in Portland. So I figured, what are they going to see in one day? Ended up getting on the plane coming anyway, killed the workout. Pat Riley came down, talked to us, got an invite for another day. Kept me 3 days and sent me home, which I thought was going to be for good. But come to find out, it was Labor Day weekend and everybody was off that Monday. So he just didn't want me down there just hanging. So I'm at home thinking like, okay, this is over. I knew this was going to happen. Then all of a sudden on Memorial Day weekend, it's like 12 o'clock, my agent called me, hey, you getting ready? I'm like, ready for what? He's like, hey, man, you got to go back to Miami. They want you to come back for the rest of the summer into training camp. So, I go through that process. And you know how training camp is, very stressful, for a player. It's a lot of pressure because you start off with maybe 25 guys, and then it cuts down to 23, and then it cuts down to 20. And then now it's 18, and now you're at that last final cut. But walking up to Ron Cope, may he rest in peace. He was the head of trainer. He was a guy that, you never want to hear coach want to see you in training camp. You never want to hear that. So I'm walking up to him, and he's looking at me. I'm looking at him, and he was like, well, Strick. And I was like, oh, he was like, look like I'll see you all year. And it was an amazing feeling, man. It was an amazing feeling. I remember calling my dad and my mom and, a couple of my friends, man, like, man, I got in, man. I got in. I still got a little ways to go because my contract's not guaranteed. But I got my foot in the door, and it was amazing. No, it's indescribable. As you dream about
Wow.
something as a little kid and dream about it, and you work towards it and work towards it, and then you know how I go. High school, you're the man, and then I went to Temple, and then kind of became a role player, setting screens and learned getting easy baskets for my team and playing defense and blocking shots, and then all of a sudden, people don't understand the NBA is about a role. So, luckily at the time, the Heat needed an energy guy, somebody to come in and give energy, and know the defense and smart enough to know what was going on, especially with Pat Riley. You really have to know, the defensive rotations because they change on every player. I mean, when they tell you that at training camp, they give you a book about this thick, it's the truth. And he don't stop. It keeps going, and you get a film with it, which helps you. But it was an amazing feeling, man. I really felt like I accomplished something, and but the desire in me wanted more. It just kept I kept wanting more because before that I had two 10 days with Indiana, and that's when the drive, that's when I realized, okay, I can do this. I'm with Rich Smith, Reggie Miller, Mark Jackson, the Davis boys, and I'm competing against them every day, like, and playing well. So once I got that itch, once I got that 1 day trial and made the heat, I knew that I was going to be here, and I ended up being there 4 years, and that turned into a 9 year NBA career. So, it was a great feeling. It's indescribable when you make something like that and you dream about it and dream about it because it's only like 47, 4,800 of us, and it's an elite fraternity, and you feel it once you get around these guys. I might not be one of the top tier guys, but I'm in the fraternity, and that was gratifying for me, really
That's
gratifying.
right. And see, when I hear you speak, Strick, I hear
Yeah,
you talking about the process. And
yeah,
you went to multiple camps. You played overseas. You were
yeah,
honing your skills. You were building your confidence in your mentality, and you were finally able to showcase that. And when you got that opportunity, you were already in shape. You were
yeah,
able to communicate. You took lessons learned from each step getting into the
yeah.
Miami Heat camp. But love to hear that, because I think too many kids now are so entitled. A lot of times they'll just quit because too many things are just handed to them, and that was not your story.
No, you have to understand. I learned early on it was a process. Plus, I learned how to be honest with myself. I knew leaving Temple University, I wasn't ready. I wasn't even ready on my 2 10 days. I was lost with plays when I was with Indiana. I didn't know rotations. So I really, once I went back down to Fort Wayne and then ended up going to Yakima, I really honed in on that, knowing X's and O's, knowing rotations. And then by the time I got to Portland, I picked up a little more and then got to New Jersey, picked and got a chance to really do it on the court because I was starting that for New Jersey that summer. So I got a lot of playing time. I got a lot of chance to see it on film. And then I started seeing it on film, I started seeing it on the court. But you just have to be positive. And what I did for myself, I wanted to make sure I was going to be in the best shape, one of the best in shape guys to come to camp. I wanted to be number one in that. And I still hold a lot of records with the Miami Heat with the sprinting because I knew if I was in better shape than guys, which is the only way. I tell people all the time, the only way I made the Miami Heat, because out of the three guys that showed up that day, me, Chris King, Ryan Lothers. I know you know Ryan Lothers because that's my guy. And we worked out, and I was the only one in shape. Only one in shape. So much in shape that I ended up playing after we worked out with Tim Hardaway, and those guys came later on. And it was like, man, this guy's not tired. That's what made me stand out. It's not. I try to tell guys, it's not about going to camp and averaging 30, and they think that's what's going to get. Hey, man, I got to average these 20 points every time I get in. No, you're trying to fill a role. When I came here, they already had Tim Hardaway, Alonzo Mourning, and then eventually we traded for Mash. Those was our scores. I had to find my niche, which was getting rebounding, being that energy guy for the team, and that's the important thing about it. I try to tell guys, man, just try to just keep at it, but make sure you're in shape. You never go to a workout out of shape. You'll be amazed when I was in the CBA and in the USBL and when I was coaching in Canada. Guy, how you come to camp out of shape?
Yeah.
How are you gonna how do you come here to make a team and you're out of shape?
Yep.
I
Yep.
never understood that. I never understood that. I never understood that. At that level, I'm saying, not like you $100 million guy, even though most guys I played with like that were really hard workers. So Reggie Miller, I had a lot of great examples, but guys just gotta understand. It's about staying in shape and understanding it's a process and being real with yourself and understanding, hey, the thing that Coach Chaney told me if I want to make the league, be better every time they see you. Okay, they see me here. Okay, he's playing. Then they see me again. I'm better than I was the last time they see me. They see me again. I'm better than they was the last time they see me. He always honed in on that message. You want to be better. Every time I go see a play, I want to see what has he been working, or is he the same? If he's better than him, I know I got a player that wants to get better, and he's going to work for me. Yeah,
I like that. And see, Strick, what I hear, you were a student of the game. You
yeah,
learned from each step. You saw, you're breaking down film, you're getting in your reps. But I love the fact that you're talking about, you know, professional basketball is a business. And if you're
Yes.
going to be a part of that elite 2% of the population, which most people don't understand that grind and the grit and that mindset that you must have to be an elite 2%, you can't, you got to stay in shape so you don't have to get in shape. And you
Yes.
did that because you knew you were an energy guy. So you showcased that with the skill set that you had, which now would translate beautifully. Love those nuggets that you're sharing there, Strick. Miami Heat. They
Yeah.
just qualified, as you know, for the NBA Finals. You talked culture about 5 minutes ago. Talk about Pat Riley and his presence, his aura. Talk about what it was like walking onto the court when a Pat Riley comes in, and it's like, when he speaks, you listen and you got to learn and you got to adapt that. But talk about just his overall aura and energy that he has coming onto the court, because one of the best ever do it. And 25% of NBA Finals is a player, coach, and executive now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of the best coaches. Another, I've been blessed to play with 6 Hall of Fame coaches. Pat was just it was just blowing my mind that he was calling, slip for Strick and let's roll Strick. Okay, we're gonna set a bash game for Strick and just throw it up there. He'll go get it. To be in a huddle with those guys, and he's in front of me with the like drawing up a play, because I'm like everybody else. I watched the '80s with Worthy and Kareem and Magic, so it was a slick hair Pat Riley, and it's Pat Riley. It's Pat Riley.
Armani suits, baby.
It's Pat Riley. So it's like, wow. So he really taught discipline. The coach, I love the culture there. The Heat was my favorite place to play, probably the best, because I told my friends when LeBron comes to Miami, he's gonna take his game to it, because I knew physically he was gonna be a completely different player, because they hold you accountable for weight and body fat.
That's right.
They hold
And
you
measurements, they
accountable for
measure that. They
yep.
measure that on you, right?
Every you gotta have a certain weight body fat. You got to make certain times on the 17s, depending on your position. They hold you accountable for dress code. They hold you accountable for, behavior. They hold you accountable for sometimes who you're married to. They hold you accountable for where your kids go to school. Like, it's really a culture that really is teaching discipline. It's teaching family. It's teaching togetherness. You have your brother's back. And I mean, Pat Riley, the stories that he gives, he's one of the best motivators. I mean, because he has so many. I think he has Adolph Ruff. He has, he played against the Texas Southern team. He was there when Magic got MVP for the Lakers as a rookie. He got Green stories. He played with Jerry West, Will Chamberlain, my high school coach Travis Machine Gun Grant. He played with Elgin Baylor. So the stories that he gives you, man. When you leave out of that locker room and you see it today, you see it in practice. They was just talking about before this game how Spo gave them a motivating video. When he said that, I knew Pat Riley put that together, because he has you like that. He has you, and when you play for him, you really believe that you. Like when they have that T-shirt, hardest working, toughest, roughest, most competitive. They have shirts like that. That is really what that culture is about, and kudos to them, man. I mean, I'm always proud of the Heat. I know that when players go there, they're going to get better. I said it about Gabe Vincent. I said it about Martin. I said it about
Okay.
a couple of other players. As a new guy, number 24, I forget his name. I watched him all summer in Miami Pro, and I was like, he's going to play a big role for them. And he got in later on in the playoffs and played pretty well for them. So it's really about development, and they really do a good job at giving you information about each player. You know what a player's going to do when he goes right hand. You know what he's going to do when he goes left hand. You know what he's going to do when he takes 2 dribble pull-ups. You know when he's going to take the 2 dribble pull-up. Like, they really have people there to give you all of this information. And that's why I knew that people are going to think Denver going to blow them out, and it's not going to happen, because, they really are they are a prepared organization, and that starts at the top with Pat Riley.
Yeah, amen to that. I agree with everything you say, and one word sticks out to me. You mentioned accountability. They're going to hold you accountable. Yeah, they pay attention to the specific details that keep it, you know,
Yeah,
keep it professional.
yeah.
So, there's a lot of high expectations, but also Pat Riley is a guy who's going to take great care of you. I mean, he'll spend an extra $100,000 just to make sure that you guys have nice charter planes and make sure that you have the greatest chefs and you got, access
Best
to
hotels on
resources.
the road. We don't stay in NBA hotels. I mean,
Yep.
most places where I went, the hotel was like a house.
Yeah.
I mean, I had upstairs, downstairs, 3, 4 bedrooms. I'm like, wow. Like it's like, no, we staying here. I want you guys comfortable. I want to be able to meet. I don't want people to know where we at. But when you came to practice, you had to be ready to work and knowing what was going on if you wanted to play for Pat Riley.
See,
So,
I love that because that even goes back to his LA Lakers day with Showtime. He wanted to have the players focused and attention, and he didn't want those outside distractions. So he was trying to take away those outside
yeah,
distractions so those players can perform and have peak mental awareness and acuity to perform on the court. And so you mentioning those details, I think is great stuff for our viewers of the show to hear because those little details matter because what you don't correct, you accept. And so all those details matter. And you were able to pick up on that and utilize that to showcase your abilities and be a part of something special as they were building that culture and building that franchise. Because you were still there in those early years, but yet you knew it was coming because I mean, it's Pat Riley, and Spolstra was a video coordinator. He kind of came up and
yeah.
he was well groomed. So yeah, they
He was
hire
spoiled
from
when he was in the
within.
video room. He was the guy that handed me the tapes. He was the guy actually responsible for me for getting my big contract. Because when I broke my finger, Spo was the guy we talk about all the time because his son is a part of the Hoop Dreams program I have here. And he really got me in shape. I really thought I knew what in shape was, but when I worked out for those, I was out 4 weeks with Spo every day on that treadmill and the things they left back. He really had me in tip top shape, which prepared me for that following contract that I got the following year.
Ah, love that. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we got Mark Strickland on the show here with us today. He's talking about the Miami Heat culture. We're talking Pat Riley. He's sharing stories. Love the nuggets that you're sharing with us today, Strick, because just as Pat Riley had stories that you could relate to that would inspire you, empower you, and uplift you, you're able to share stories with our viewers today because you lived it. You were
Yep.
firsthand, you experienced it. And the fact that, you were an ambassador for basketball for years after playing for the Heat and a few other organizations, you picked up and learned being that student of the game with each franchise that you were a part of throughout your career and even overseas.
Yeah, overseas really helped me. By the time I went overseas, I kind of went places where I wanted to like tour, and it was a great experience. And actually, playing overseas broadened my horizons about more about society and life and what's important. Was able to keep in touch with a lot of my owners of the team and presidents of the team. We're doing some business with them with Day Prep. Our schools was going to go global here soon. So it's just about relationships. That's about relationships. That's what it's about. When you go, I tell people college is about relationships. A lot of the things that I do here are with a lot of the students that were on the fifth floor that I hung out with at Temple University. We talk to each other all the time. My friend Seth, he's in financial game in Boston. He came to see that to the games when I was with the Heat and when I was with the Hogs play Boston. He come to the games. We're doing some stuff together. We're doing some stuff in Delaware with my man Mike Shepard. All of these guys were on my floor, like regular students on my floor. We got Brett Gatz, who's one of the biggest 7-on-7 guys in Fort Lauderdale. He was on the fifth floor with us. I mean, I talk to him all the time, go talk to his kids. He's going to do a 7-on-7 football thing with us when we do the Hoop Dreams Academy. So it's about relationships. And I just took that same concept overseas. develop a lot of relationships with people overseas, man. And you know how it goes. It's a lot of times it's who you know, and when sometimes you know the right person, it just makes things easier for you,
That's right.
especially with the things that I'm trying to do now with the youth and with the schools and sports training, and sports education.
See, and I love all that because relationships are so vital. I mean, you're on our show today because I was able to, be blessed to coach against you
Yeah,
in Lebanon. And I'm gonna tell you what, it may have been the twilight of your career, but let's be honest, I'm gonna give you your flowers. You were a handful. We had to be prepared
yeah.
to play against your
I
team.
enjoyed it. I
Uh,
enjoyed Lebanon. Enjoyed it, man. Enjoyed it.
yeah,
Still talk to Tony. Tony.
Tony
Tony.
Madison.
Tony Madison. Talk to T Mad all the time. Talk to Tony Madison all the time. Talk to him all the time. Yep.
He
So
was a
I
great
never
guard.
knew who Tony Madison was, so I got over there. And then me and Tony Madison, I go to Vegas. He's in Vegas now. Every time I go to Vegas, we hang out, we go eat, man. A lot of great relationships in Lebanon, and it was a great experience. A
That's
great
right.
experience because you think one way with the news here and how things are going overseas, but once you really get there, you really live there. Bank account, grocery store, apartment, car. You get to really see people are the same everywhere.
That's right.
It's the same. You got good people, you got bad people. You just got to make sure you put yourself around the good ones. That's it. And
Amen.
that really helped me out with the way I think about society and the way I think, way I approach other people. That really helped me out playing overseas, and I really appreciated that experience.
Well, and here's the thing. You stayed professional. You didn't go over there thinking that it was just a vacation. I mean, you still treated the game and the team and the club with
I wanted to
respect.
win. I
That's right.
wanted to win. Yeah, it's about winning. I wanted to win, man.
And
And I relayed that message to my teammates, and that's
that's
why we had teams that kind of overexceeded. We kind of went above what we were, but it was they worked. Start off with me and Danny Johnson going early, then you see a couple other
Danny.
guys. Then
Yeah.
you see a couple of other guys. Then you
Yeah.
see next thing you know, we're there at 8 in the morning, and the whole team is there working out together without the coach. I'm saying it's just us,
Yep.
just getting shots up. Hey, what do we do? They picking our brain about the NBA. It was a combination thing, having the right guys at the right time and really wanting that knowledge from us, and then they applied it. So
I
that really
yep.
helped. Yeah, that really helped me.
I know this. When I was able to hire and have great players around me that I knew fit our philosophy and style of play, it made it so much easier because we could sit back as coaches and let the players lead the team and not have to be a coach led team because a player led team is
Yeah,
always going to have more success because you're going to challenge each other, hold each other accountable. Because at some point, Strick,
yeah,
a coach's voice will get tuned out. But
yeah.
as a player, you're going to continue to push yourself, talk with each other, and if a player comes to you and says something about, hey man, you're getting punked or you're not going hard, that means a lot to you,
It's different.
especially if you're a
Yeah,
competitor and you
yeah,
compete, that's
yeah.
that's a prideful thing for your teammate to say, hey, you know what, I've got your back, but I need you to pick it up.
Yeah, yeah. Those are type of lessons that we kind of passed on to Ronnie Farhad, our point guard. Still talk to him today.
Yeah.
John Abdenor, he's on the national team. Talk to him today. My man Paul. Paul is on. I don't call him Paul so much. My man Paul, he's in Australia. He was on my team over there. I mean, we do some stuff, doing some stuff in Australia. So, but at that time, those guys really were hungry for that knowledge, and they
That's right.
they applied it to the team, and they got on us too when we
Yeah.
weren't stepping up. They let us know, hey man, you guys are making the money. That's why you guys are here. We need
Yeah.
you guys to come ready, especially when certain guys were hanging out. Danny might have hung out a little bit too late. They found out it was the players. It
Yeah.
wasn't the coach. Hey, come on, man. You can do this later on. We got to get this game, these
Yeah.
games this weekend. So yeah, it was great. Man. It was a great experience.
Love it. Love those stories that you're sharing because everything you're saying is 100% factual. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, I mean, you played in Puerto Rico, you played in Lebanon, you played, with the Fort Wayne Fury and also Yakima in the CBA. Talk about those CBA days because that league in those days, there was also a
it's tough.
culture. And man,
It's tough.
the players were extremely competitive. You had quality coaching. Let's be
Yeah,
honest. Sometimes
yeah,
overseas, I made a life of it because we would outcoach other teams. So I came with that mentality that hey, I'm not going to let anybody outwork or out prepare us. But
yeah.
talk about those CBA days and what you picked up from the CBA because again, not enough credit is given to
None.
that CBA, because that's what the G League now is trying to
Yep.
create. But that CBA back
It was
then,
different. It was
that
different then because you had got to think about it. When I got in the CBA, you had 8, 9, 10-year CBA veterans.
yeah,
And it was I tell people all the time, you couldn't be soft
yep,
and play in the CBA back then. It just was not going to work. It was not going to work. It taught me toughness. It taught me discipline. Me and Anthony Goldwire and Yakima, I mean, we get up, I still talk to Anthony Goldwire today. He's at University of Houston now. We really worked out, did extra work in. You got to understand, the referees are trying to get to the NBA. The owners are trying to get to the NBA. The coaches, the players, everybody is trying to get to the NBA. So, you have to really come in there with like somewhat of a business mindset because everybody's trying to get to that next level. And the competitiveness in that league, it really got me ready for the NBA. It taught me the grind of it. You're playing 2 or 3 games a night. You're traveling in the airport, in the airplanes, and you're getting in late. People don't understand the NBA. They see all the fluff, but you're doing most of your sleep in strange hotels. You're doing a lot of sleep on the plane. By the time you get out the game, it's 12. And by the time you get on plane, it's 12:30, 1 o'clock. So you're getting in 3, 4 o'clock, depending on where you're going. Then you got to shoot around at 10. You know how it go. Your whole life's on a piece of paper, and it's a grind, man. It's
yep,
really like it's like 2 lives. And
yep,
then when you come home, you got to add to that because now you got to take the kids to school. You got to add that to it. The normalcy of it, you got to
yep,
always. It's like but the CBA, I agree with you. The CBA don't get enough credit. I thought it was a great league. It kept a lot of great players home because you can make enough money between that check with the CBA and the little check that you get from the USBL. You can make enough money to
yep,
stay here. It
yep,
wasn't overseas money at that time, but it was enough that you could survive here and take care of your family, man, and stay in the eye of the NBA, of the NBA scouts and the NBA president. So I really enjoyed the CBA. It really helped me grow up. It really helped me understand the game of pro basketball. That's
right,
the best thing about the CBA. It taught me how it's pro basketball is a completely different brand of it. It's more of this. It's more detailed. Especially when you're playing with like veteran players. You come in as a young guy. You have to know like what's going on. Are they going? Those guys. Hey man, we gotta get him out. He got to come out. So you had to really kind of step my game up and learn how. It taught me how to be a pro, basically.
yeah.
CBA, yes,
Seriously, you had to be cut from a different cloth to compete because, like you're saying, those veterans, they already know angles, they already know footwork, they already know post entry passing, the versatility and
yeah,
athleticism like you had helped because you were
yeah,
an energy guy, but you
yeah,
still had to learn the game. And
yeah,
Fort Wayne and Yakima helped you learn the game that
for
prepared
sure.
you for Portland and prepared you for Indiana Pacers, which allowed you the opportunity to be like, okay, Miami Heat, Pat Riley, I'm ready for you
Ready.
now.
Yep, yep, yep. CBA was that. I really enjoyed those days. Playing Kelsey Weems. A lot of those guys, man. I mean, it was I learned a lot from. I still talk to Big Kitchens,
Oh,
Curtis Kitchens. I
yeah.
still just talked to Kevin
Woo.
Holland the other day. These are my teammates in Yakima. He's out in LA now. We're gonna do some stuff together. I mean, the relationships that you get from these places, man. Especially once you get into those type of league and you develop some respect from your peers.
That's right.
It really that's when things open up for you, and then you really start to get that brotherhood from guys on other teams. Hey man, I see you doing this. You might want to try this, work on this. You get in that because now you're really part of the fabric of the CBA, and now you're a part of that group of guys that's really trying to get guys out of there to the next level. Because some
Right.
guys, some of those guys, they know. It's a check for them. They're veterans. Eventually, they're going to be coaching in the CBA. But when you see a guy that really has an opportunity to go to the next level, and once you get those guys respect, meaning coming in humble, really paying attention and understanding, and I'm not better than these guys because they've been here the longest. I have to understand. I have to show these guys some type of respect and really draw from them so that if I do get that opportunity, I'm ready for it. So
Yeah.
CBA was one instrument, very instrumental in me and my development becoming a pro, for
And
sure.
The
For sure.
thing that I heard you share there was you were coachable, you were open-minded, and you were ready to learn from the players and from the coaches and from anybody around you. Because let's be honest,
Yeah.
when you're on a 20-hour bus trip in the middle of December, you're
Right.
going to bond because your per diem is not that big, and
Yeah.
you're gonna be eating at McDonald's or whatever
Dominoes,
might have
dog.
been open.
I can't. I ate so much Dominoes in the CBA. I cannot eat Dominoes today. I cannot eat Dominoes. I can't eat. If you literally, if you put a Domino's pizza in front of me right now, I would get sick. Because that's all. Because I didn't want to do the McDonald's and the Burger
Yeah.
King, so I was like, okay, let me do Domino's. Let me do Dom. I ate so much Domino's in those 2 years, man. I do not want to see a Domino's. I
I
mean, there's
love it.
not nothing against Domino's.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
cannot eat it anymore, man. I
yeah.
can't eat it anymore. Yeah, but
I
yeah,
hear
it was
it's
great,
great
man.
stories,
It was
great
great.
stories. I mean, we're already 40 minutes into this conversation and we're sharing so much knowledge and expertise and wisdom. Strick, I really appreciate what you're doing for our
Thank you.
viewers today. Um,
Thank you.
Talk about, let's stay in the CBA for a minute because, we just talked about the road trips and, you guys bonding and learning from each other. But what was some of your favorite arenas to play in the CBA?
CBA, I love Sioux Falls. I
Oh,
love playing in the Sun Dome in Yakima. Sioux Falls was the best. Sioux Falls was the best. It was one of the coldest places I ever been.
yeah,
In the early years, Grand Rapids. I like their arena. There was a few places.
yeah,
Because teams
yep.
changed sometime. They had a team in Chicago one year. I really enjoyed playing in that arena. But it was more the experience,
Yep.
and then a lot of those, the Sioux Falls and the Yakimas and the Rockford Lightnings, those
That's right.
historical franchises,
Yeah.
those were the arenas where
Albany Patroons at the
they got a big.
Washington Armory. Yeah.
Yeah, you got the fan base. You go up to Albany, yeah, they got a big fan base. They had a team for years and years and years. Those were the great arenas that you kind of jacked up. You feel like you're in the league when you go
Yeah.
to. You smell the popcorn. People are there early. It's a big fan base. And they're chilling and yelling at you. It feels like basketball. It feels like a pro game. So those were the arenas that were really I got up for those because okay,
Yeah.
and then you're playing them 2 or 3, you played and you skip maybe a day, then you play and you skip 2 days, play again. So you're playing like 3 games in that one city, 2 or 3 games in that one city. So you get a chance to really, get the fans involved and kind of
Yeah.
get into it. It was
Yeah.
really great. Yeah, it was
And
really
I'll tell you what I liked as a coach in the CBA. I love the quarter point system. For every quarter that you win, you get points, and
yeah,
you win the fourth quarter, that's worth points. So for me, it was always about learning because special situations were important. Yeah, you could have been up by 12 points, but yet,
yeah,
you wanted to have more points towards the end of the season during playoff time. So, yeah, we're still doing special ATOs after timeouts for sideline out of bounds, baseline out of bounds, working on those specialties and those details. So, as a coach, strategically, man, I love that because it
yeah,
always kept me focused and never let
yeah.
me let off the gas.
Trying to win those quarters. Those quarters count, especially at the end of the year playoff time.
That's right.
They count. You need those points. Yeah.
I love it. Oh, good stuff there. Again, we've shared multiple experiences, in the league and in
Yeah.
the CBA and
Yeah. Same
overseas.
path.
Yeah,
Same
that's right.
path. Yeah.
So
Just
so
about.
so to
Yeah.
sit there and share these stories with someone who gets it and had lived it and wore
Yeah.
those moccasins, this makes a fun conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. A lot of those cities were freezing. Grand
Woo!
Rapids, freezing. Sioux Falls, freezing.
Right?
Fort Wayne, freezing. It
Yeah.
used to be cold. I don't know what in these cities. I was like, how they living here?
Yeah.
But it was a great. It humbles you if you go in with the right mindset. Everything's just like Temple University. When I got to Temple, the whole campus winning was an attitude. It was everywhere. It was everywhere. Winning is an attitude, and I had to really, that's one of the things Coach Chaney, set me down and he helped me change my attitude because coming out of high school, I was a guy blocking shot, pointing all in your face, and I'm talking to the crowd, and he was like, man, like, what are you doing? And if I dunk on somebody, I'm all trying to walk over them. That's the kind of guy I was when I got to Temple. But he was like, hey, if you get a dunk, everybody's looking at you anyway. So why are you just look like an idiot. You know how coach talk. I can't really
Oh,
talk to you how you
yeah.
talk,
Yeah.
but he
With
really
that
get
with
on you
that
and make you see
raspy voice.
yeah, he make you see a different perspective. I'm like, hold on, coaches, coach is right. And I'm making myself look like an idiot after a great play. I'm doing a bone. I'm hurt. One, I'm not getting back on defense because I'm trying to show him how I need to be getting back. That's one. And now I'm making myself look like an idiot because I'm pointing at him. And now the referee, and he explained to me, now the referees see that. Now they go, okay. All of that plays
Yeah.
into all that plays. It's about
Yes,
attitude and
sir.
staying humble. Even Kill, that
That's
was
right.
making things. Got a
That's
lot of
right.
that from him
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
don't get too high with the victories and don't get too low with the defeats. Just
Yep.
stay professional and keep grinding and get
Yep.
better every day.
Yep. Yep.
Love
That's
it.
what it's
Strick.
about.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We talked about how Pat Riley was probably your favorite
Yeah.
NBA person to be around. Who was your favorite CBA coach? Either you played for or someone who was always well prepared against your teams. Who was that guy?
I like Paul.
Paul
What's
Wolpert.
Paul?
Coach Wolpert, baby.
Who
Shout
was his
out.
coach? He was a short. It was a shorter coach he was with all the time. I liked him. I like Tebow. He
Okay.
ended up coaching in WNB. He was with
Yep.
Omaha Racers. That's
Yep.
another one. I
Yep.
forgot about Omaha. That was a nice arena too. Omaha
The
Racers.
Racers. That's
Um,
right.
but but Paul, but Paul was he was a great coach, man. He kind of let you kind of be yourself. He really got on you when it came to X's and O's. He wanted to win. He was good at putting the right players together, and keeping that camaraderie. Really like Paul a lot. Bruce Stewart was a great one because he the
Oh,
one who gave me my opportunity. And
yeah.
then I kind of heard a lot of bad things about Bruce Stewart, but for me, Bruce Stewart never crossed me over. He was always a great coach, and he always was honest with me. Even when he traded me to Yakima, he was just honest. When you get older, you start to appreciate those type of things instead of
Yep.
you like trying to give me this fluff,
That's
you
right.
know, fluff
Yep.
story. You coming at me direct. Hey, Strick, I think I found somebody a little better, so we're gonna trade you here, and I'm gonna make sure you're okay there. I'm not just trading you off to some team. I'm gonna make sure you're good. And as you get older, you don't like it when you hear it, maybe a little bit, it stings a little bit, but when you get older, you look back on that. You know what? I appreciate Bruce Stewart for at least being honest,
Yep.
and though I gotta salute him because he gave me my first opportunity in the CBA.
And see, I like how you just said that because you, even though it's not what you wanted to hear, you were able
Yeah,
to take it as constructive to help
yeah,
you be better at whatever Coach Stewart might have said was your deficiency or what you
yeah.
were lacking. So again, you made it a learning lesson for you to be more prepared for the next spot. But love those names that you dropped because they were great. My Salt Lake team, we had great battles with Yakima, and we loved playing in that dome. And
Yeah.
our guys got a lot of energy playing in there because they had a
Yeah.
great crowd support
Great
too. So,
crowd. Great
yeah,
crowd.
that's right. That's right. So,
Guy, a coach though, I gotta say this: a coach that I really regret and I had in the CBA was Calvin Duncan.
okay.
Calvin Duncan was talking to us about drinking water, reading books instead of listening to back then you had the Walkman. Everybody had a Walkman, and then they had the CD player with the big disc and the carry the disc. Everybody on the plane was headphone. He was like, man, y'all need to stop and read a book. Stop listening to the headphone. He talked about drinking room temperature water, those type of things, and eating different types of food and not eating so much fast food. Learn how to cook. I didn't learn how to cook that I got overseas, but if I would have been I thought back, I was like, man, Calvin Duncan was really giving me a lot of jewels that I didn't really put into practice until later on. I really regretted that. I really regretted
Wow.
not really listening to Calvin Duncan with a lot of messages he gave me in Yakima. I really did.
Love that. Good
Great
stuff.
guy though. Great
Yeah,
guy.
we got about 5 minutes here.
Okay.
Who was the player as a teammate that you learned the most from going into the NBA? Who was that guy?
For me, I had a player on each level. USBL was Darrell Armstrong. I'll
Okay,
be
yeah.
quick with it. Darrell Armstrong was we would be going trying to find clubs and places to eat. Darrell Armstrong used to be taking laps around the hotel, just running around the hotel, running around the hotel. When I got to Temple, it was Mark Macon.
Okay.
Mark Macon was reading meditation books. Zen-like books. He was meditating. He was just a very unique, more in tune mentally with his body. With working out, and it was all. he had books like that. It all kind of tied into some kind of way mental, which got him prepared to be one of the best players that I ever played in college basketball. It was him there. When I was in Fort Wayne, it was Nikita Wilson, who
Oh
I still
wow.
talk to today. He was a vet. He was a CBA veteran. He was very instrumental in me becoming in the pros. And then once I got to the Heat was Keith Askins.
Oh,
He was one of the guy that looked out. Early years in Atlanta was Kevin Willis. He was telling me about the
big
story, how
K
he got
Dub.
drafted, how he had to go down to play in these games, leaving Michigan State. And a lot of people didn't believe in him. And he went down there and really showed them how all of those stories I got from those guys. And then once I got with the Heat, it was Alonzo Mourning. Zoe was one of the hardest working teammates in Indiana. It was just watching Reggie Miller because I didn't really get close to Reggie until after I left. But just we would be on the early, in the league, you got early buses and the veteran bus and the late bus. Reggie Miller was already sweating in the arena at when we're walking in on the early bus, and he's already out there, like I'm talking about full sweat, like shooting jump shots before the game. It's just list goes on. Those
Wow.
goes on. It was every team had a player that would always be like that player that would be like, okay, they would just draw to me and it would be a good guy that would kind of teach me how to handle myself. So it really wasn't one player. Like in Indiana, it was Dale Davis. I knew his older brother, KD, who played at Georgia State in high school. Me and my best friend, Joe White, used to catch the 34 Gresham down to Georgia State to play against those guys every evening. They played at night. So we would catch the bus at night, go play with those guys at night. This is 11th, 12th grade. And Dale
Wow.
Davis' older brother was on those teams. And then through that relationship, when I got to the Pacers, Dale was like, okay, okay, come on in. You come on in. So, and he became my kind of like the guy that kind of taught me things. So, I had, it was just different players. It really wasn't one. I was just blessed enough to have that one player on the team, man, that really kind of let me understood, hey, this is how this goes. And if you want to be here, you're going to have to stick to this. If you don't, you're going to be like those other guys and you're not going to be here. So
Yep.
I was blessed to have that in each
Nuggets.
team, in each situation I went to. Yeah.
Nuggets right there. And whether you realize or not, when you were playing overseas, you were that guy.
Yeah.
You were the
Yeah.
one in the locker room and on the bench saying, hey, here's what you need to do. Hey, take care of yourself. You need to ice and you need to eat. You need to get your rest. So I love how that proverbial torch was always passed. But in just a couple minutes, you were able
Yeah.
to go back and play for the Atlanta Hawks, as you mentioned, which
Yeah.
kind of made it full circle for you because
Yeah.
playing high school ball and then playing all over the globe. You go back, you play with the Atlanta Hawks. What did that feel like to go back and
It was
play at
great.
home in
It
front
was
of
great. It
family?
was great because my parents, I didn't realize going to Temple would when you go away to school, you kind of cut ties, and I wasn't thinking about that, because I'm way in Philadelphia. So now I'm not seeing my cousins as much. I'm not seeing my mom as much. I'm not seeing my dad as much. I'm not seeing my good friends as much. So, it creates a distance, but playing with the Hawks, it felt good, to have, 20, 30 people, even people just getting regular tickets, knowing that I'm on a team. Guys would be, guys you went to high school with, guys you played I played at Gresham Park Rec with, you know, having an opportunity for them to actually see me on that court, seeing me become a president. They knew me when I had 3 pair of jeans and maybe about 5 shirts. So for them, for that to be able to, my aunts come to games, my little cousins, they all still talk about it now. They were little then, they're adults now, being able to have that experience with my family, and they could come out every night, and I'm right there, right
Bring it
downtown.
all back
Yeah,
together.
it was a great experience to have them share a lot of those games and a lot of those moments with me with the Hawks. Yeah.
Let's end with this question. Kind of catch you off guard here. When you were in the NBA, what was your favorite restaurant to go to and what you looked forward to when you got into that city and got to go to that restaurant? Which one is it?
I used to like chops, man. They had
Oh,
chops everywhere back then. They were rare then. They're everywhere now, but it was
yeah.
like maybe the one in like Canada. They had one in Atlanta. They had one in New York. In New York, I like Tao in New York. When they built Tao in New York. I like that Asian food. So those were like some of the restaurants. I wasn't really like with the what is it? Philippe Charles and all those. I wasn't really on those. I was more on the, those like kind of low key spots, man.
There you
Like
go.
those, those hole in the wall spots, man, had
Yeah,
the best food. I found that out when I played in China. Some of you be like, hold on, but then when you
that's it.
start eating the food, you be like, wow,
Ooh, that's some
it's like
fire.
delicious, Yeah. So I'm more into those type little spots like that. Yeah.
I like it. Ladies and gentlemen, been a pleasure and an honor to have Mark Strickland as a guest here with us today. Talked about the Heat culture and just thank you for sharing your wisdom and expertise with our viewers. It's been a wonderful ride. I can't believe the hour has gone by that quick, but
Yeah.
man, great stories and
Thank you.
love the lessons that you taught. Any closing words that you can share with our viewers today, Strick?
Now I'm just about what I'm doing these days is giving back to the youth. I have everybody want to go on Sports Ed TV. It's www.sportsedtv. It's free sports education and free training for anybody. Right now we got about 12 sports, and for us over we'll have about 40 sports. If you're ever in the Miami area, or if you're watching or in Miami area, I have a Hoop Dreams program mostly for younger kids. We have third, fourth, fifth grade. We also have 11th grade and 11U team. We don't have all the teams, but we got some teams in there. If you're interested in that, we have a camp this summer, 7-week camp at Slam Academy, which is ran by Pitbull. So, we go there, do our camp there because we get a lot of kids from the city there. So just doing a lot of stuff. I'm doing schools now. We started with day prep. Now we're taking it nationally. So you'll be seeing me a lot in the different states and different countries, bringing education to kids. We take the bottom 10% out of all public schools and give them an opportunity to get
Wow.
an education. So that's what I'm doing now. So just trying to give back. If anybody's interested in those stuff, especially Sports Ed TV, because we do it for single parents, dads trying to bond with their kids, and we understand that everybody can't pay $500-600 or $1,200 a week for a trainer. So we got top trainers on there. We got blogs on there from Ray Allen talking about shooting and free throws. We got UD talking about business. We got a lot of interesting people on there, man. A lot of things on there you can pick from. And it's like a Facebook community. If you get on there and you join Sports Ed TV and register, man, you can talk to coaches all over. It's like Sportsbook. Whoever is on there, you can talk to people in Saudi Arabia. We have coaches in Africa. We have coaches in Chile. We have coaches in Dubai. We have coaches everywhere. So you can actually get on and hit those coaches and kind of
Wow.
communicate with them. So we're just trying to give. I'm just trying to do things to give back, and especially to the youth because we need it in this day and time, man. We got to give them some
Amen.
direction, keep them busy, so that they, man, won't stray off and needing the things that they
Amen.
don't need to get into. So
Amen.
that's
Hey,
what I want
Strick.
to end with. So
Hey,
appreciate
hey,
it, appreciate it, Scott. What you're doing is great. I see it all the time on Facebook. I try to watch them as much as I can, man. Many
appreciate you.
blessings to you and your wife, man. I see you with her all the time, man. It's great to have that, man. I know how that feels. So proud of you. Like what you're doing, man. Hopefully, man, I get to be one of these ESPNs and one of these networks to pick you up, man. I get to see you. Like I was on that guy's show before all of this happened. I
There
was
you
on there
go.
before all this happened.
There
So
you go.
yeah, many blessings, man. And appreciate you having me on. And I wish you all the best, man. And keep doing what you're doing because you're really helping the culture of basketball, man. And it's needed. And it's needed, man.
God
Needed.
bless you, Mark Strickland. I appreciate that. Maybe we should get the Coach Scott Field show on Sports Ed. That way
Yeah, we
people
can
can
do that.
also see what we're
Yeah, we
doing.
can
So
do that. I'll
however I
bring
can
my
help you,
CEO on and bring those guys on. We can do a Sports Ed TV version. Yes, we
let's
can.
do it.
We'll
Let's
get
do
that
it.
in eventually. Yeah, we'll get that in. Yep.
There you
Yes, sir.
go. Well, hey, whatever
All
I
right.
can do to help you, brother, you holler at me because I
Thank you.
got your back.
Thank you.
Nothing but
Yeah, we
love,
got
man.
our information now. Great to have it. Take care, man. Thanks.
You got it. Ladies and
All right.
gentlemen, Mark Strickland, former NBA player, but Hall of Fame character. Go check him out. This is the Coach Scott Field Show. Be watching for another exciting guest and more creative content because we're going to bring it to you, for you, to empower you, live, love, and serve. God bless. Strick, I love you, brother.
Right. Take care. Love you too. All right, coach.